Mark's a great producer. What's up? What's up? How y'all doing today? Sunday morning, it's all good. Today, we got some two wonderful, amazing, special family members of mine coming on today. Al Rashad, my man down in Florida, and his son John Rashad. Now, before we get our hype on, I want you guys to really thank John because he's in California. It's very early. So out there, IBM.TV fans, Funk Music with Zack on Sunday fans, I want you guys to really, really thank this brother for getting up this early and hanging with us today. Um, welcome, gentlemen, to the show. John, how you doing? Al, how you doing? You
Good.
guys look amazing as always. Looks like you could be twins. So what's happening, Al? How you doing? I'm gonna get to John in 1 second, but first of all, thank you guys. Appreciate you. Mad love and respect. Two of the most phenomenal bass players that's on this planet right now are sitting in front of you. So if you guys don't know, you're gonna know. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna know. But how you doing, Al? What's going on in Florida? How's your family and everybody?
I'm good. Everybody is good. Just kind of celebrating my birthday weekend a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, and getting ready to go out to Cali next week to finish up
Okay.
a project that John's producing for me. So it's going to be amazing. I'm really excited about that.
Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
So, John, how you doing out there in Cali, man? How's your family and friends and your peeps and your crew out there, man?
There's nobody out here but me.
There's nobody out there with you?
I'm just kidding. I have some great friends. They're all doing well, thank God. And everyone else is Florida or New York. So,
Okay. That's all good, man. Here in North Carolina, it's about the same. My daughter started school this past week, and they're adjusting as they're pretty good kids, so they're doing all right with the online school thing or whatever. People are still half on, half off with the mask, so who knows where that's gonna go. But man, I appreciate you guys coming on. I know everybody's really busy and stressed right now, so again, man, high praise.
Hey, my pleasure.
This is the first time on Funk Music with Zack on a Sunday. It's very unique that we have a father and a son on, and I just want to talk a little bit about that. John, I've been knowing you like practically since you were born, and your dad, man, he's such a humble cat, and I can see that has rubbed off on you, man. And tell me a little bit about that as you were coming up and getting into this music game, about how your dad kind of set you on the right path, man.
well, I guess it all started here.
Oh wow! oh my!
What's up?
Oh my! that's back there.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's stuff I don't remember.
Right.
When we were talking, you were like mentioning that I would just be sitting down there watching you guys. I mean, that's what I remember.
Wow.
I remember all the tapes and records my dad had, like his collection, and checking that out. But once I got serious or big enough to actually hold the bass, he just put it in my hands, and
Right.
I just really liked it. I don't necessarily know why, or it's no rhyme or reason, but I do like being in the studio, rehearsals with you guys, church rehearsals, gigs that he had with his bands, and then also just going to concerts. And at that time, there were a lot of guys who are more popular now in sort of my, or maybe the generation older, maybe even you guys' generation, that weren't necessarily that big, so it was easy to get backstage, and I met all those guys in the early age.
Yeah.
Really encouraging.
Yeah. That's amazing. And Al, I know, we were talking and you were sending me music, as John was coming up, you were saying like how talented and how amazing he was, and as I was listening to it, man, I was like, well, He's phenom, you know what I mean? And I ain't just saying that because I'm saying it because I've been around phenoms before and I know it when I hear it, man. And I
Right.
was like, whoa, you know, and it was really cool to see that, to see the glow on your father's face, knowing that he had, you know, had something to do with that, man. Al, at what point did you really recognize that John was going to be this amazing, you know, boom, just star, just shooting up? When did that actually hit you?
Um, when he asked me one day, he said to show him how to play Donna Lee, right? Jocko, tune. And so I showed him the first part, and then he came right back, because I'm trying to watch TV. So I figured if I give him this difficult task to do, it'll take him a while. So then he came back and he knew the second part. I'm like, wait a minute, something's going on here. But he's always had that thing. He's always had the love, for the music,
Mm-hmm.
And so he took off there, and that's kind of like, right. He would sit in the room for hours and hours and just
Yeah.
play. And I also remember, I mean, here's the thing, he's genius, hands down.
Yeah.
Not because he's my son, but
Yeah, it's a fact. Yeah, people will hear it. They know.
but the thing is, it's like even with geniuses, it's like, you know why they're genius? Because they put in the time.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it's a 20-year overnight success. So I said it to say this: I would get up in the morning to go to work, right? And if before I leave the house, he's in the room practicing the stuff, right? I'll go to work for 8 hours, come back home, and he's where I left him. And he would just over and over, so he put in that time and learned.
Yeah.
The other thing too that was pretty amazing to me was he was learning some Victor Wooten type stuff or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to learn it, but he figured out how Victor's bass was tuned just by listening.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, well, how the heck did you? Then he come up with like, there's no way you can play these notes with the standard tuning. So I'm like, okay, he's on some different stuff.
Yeah.
So he's and then after that, he just took off, man, and it's
Yeah.
just like and excelled and learned stuff, and it's like it was funny because I remember one time I was at lunch. Well, having dinner with some friends, and John was little, and my friend said, "Man, in a few years, you're gonna be asking them how to do stuff." And that's
right. And boom, here we are.
Boom, like, how do that again?
Yo, and that's deep, man. It's like, again, here we are, IBM.TV, on this Super Sunday right here. I'm chilling out with Al Rashad and his son, John Rashad, and these two amazing gentlemen have completely rearranged bass playing in my head. So I just play at it. I don't actually play it anymore. I just play at it just so I can write some stuff, man. But yeah, here we are on Funk Music with Zack on Super Sunday. So as a father and son, I know father's always going to be super proud. But John, when you and your father were able to start doing things at the same time and kind of just vibing like that, man, how did that make you feel as far as just being so like lucky and fortunate to have this dad that was able to just like impart this road knowledge? Because once you got it here, you got to get obviously that road knowledge and as far as some of that road dirt, as we used to call it, because that's what I hear when I hear you play and I'm listening for the road dirt. I'm like, oh my God. That road dirt, that bottom boy stuff, when I hear it, I'm like, oh. It's so great. How did that make you feel, man? And talk me through that a little bit.
Well, at the time, I didn't know any different, but and honestly, it's more so in the past few years that I'm really understanding what that was. You know what I mean? Just going into different situations, whether it's recording or live gigs, or like that. Anytime I have to perform, it's especially now I'm able to comprehend what it is that people are wanting from the bass as a role of the instrument.
Yeah,
I'm extremely grateful.
Yeah.
As far as when I was younger, being able to actually sit down with him, I remember we had this little I forget what kind of amp it was, but it had two inputs, and we would just sit in the dining room and play duos and stuff and get ready for gigs. That was a lot of fun. That was just more fun because I always find it kind of uh, weird from not weird, but I just have some sort of quirk where it's more difficult for me to connect with people on an everyday basis. So
Mm-hmm.
doing that with music with my dad, it was just amazing. I loved it. I didn't think too much about it other than
Yeah,
I loved
normal,
it.
right?
Yeah, but as far as all the benefits, that I didn't realize what was going on until I realized there's so many people that don't have that. So,
Yeah, yeah. That's really slick, man. And as we grow in this business and do everything, and there's a few things I'm gonna touch on for sure. I know you recently were doing something with Andre Simone, but obviously we'll get into the Prince story. I'm saving that for the second half. But working in that type of environment where cats just kind of pick up, you remind me of Dennis Chambers. He's like, cats just call me, because that's the type of reputation you have, and that's like truly a gift. And to see you giving it back the way that you do, and all the other things that you do that people don't really know about that I know about, that's like beautiful. That's the spirit of what your dad put and what you have together. You were born with it, that giving, that goodness. Ever since I remember, you always had this look on your face. You were always so like humble. Even as a kid, the other kids be running around and you would just be kind of low key, just checking stuff out, man. And I was like always watching, because at the time I didn't have kids, so I was just like, oh, cool, you guys became my nieces and nephews, man. And I'm so proud of you, bro. Doing the show and hanging out with us today on Funk Music with Zack, man, for a little bit. That's really cool. That's really cool. So, working with Andre Simone, and this was right before it was before COVID, right? Didn't that start before COVID hit?
yeah, it started about 2 years ago, and
Okay.
there was a musician in town that recommended me. I mean, this whole thing works on recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just went in for a rehearsal and it worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I had been part of the Prince camp for a little bit anyway, and
Mm-hmm.
I got around. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool, man. I always followed his music as well, and understanding how he put things together as a producer and as a writer. He really does have that genius, and
Okay.
and yeah, he really does, man. If you listen to some of the stuff he did for early on with Jody Watley and all that stuff too, back then I was like, okay, that's got that flavor, but it's like slightly different, but it's a genius there, man. Getting to the jazz thing, Al.
Mhm.
Um, when you and I have talked about this before, right here on this show. That was always something, and the funk and the jazz that you got into, that Larry Graham thing, right? When you heard John really start to fly, who did he kind of remind you of? Because he's a one in the time prodigy, but who did you hear his mindset thinking about?
Wow. Well, initially, because Victor was such a big fan, and all the music that I had around, like the Marcus Millers and the John Patitucci's, it was like all of that combined in one. And then one of the things he did was he didn't want to be a Victor Wooten clone, so he started going off and developing his own thing,
Yeah,
legato and stuff like that. So he's got his own vibe, his own thing, or whatever.
yeah,
His
totally.
yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
who he reminds me of? Yeah, a lot of that, but he reminds me of himself
Yeah,
all the time.
exactly. And I wasn't trying to talk to you
No,
in the
no.
third person, John. I just wanted your father's opinion about it because I hear and I'm like, okay, he's just him.
Yeah, but
You know what I'm saying?
here's the funny thing though. In producing this project for me, right? He sent me samples or whatever, and just kind of give me guidelines from scratch. And it's funny because he can switch and play exactly like me. So I get the scratch tracks, and I'm like, wait a minute.
That's cool.
It's funny.
I'm sure he does that just to mess with you. Just to mess with you. Because your dad is a prankster from way back. You already know that, John. Him and I go back. We sit on the phone sometime, and just an hour and a half will go by. We just telling jokes and cracking up about stuff, man. We did that this week. We just did that a few days ago. We was talking about stuff, man, and we just started cracking up. Because your dad and I always had a code and a thing we used to do. Because we had to play in so many quiet places. We just had signals, and we would go back and forth and just laugh about stuff while we were rehearsing all the time. But
McMahon and Tate.
McMahon and Tate, that's right. Running up the flagpole and see what it works. See what works. Yo, there's a lot of funny stories, man.
It's the weirdest thing because we be on stage, remember, Zach, we be playing or whatever, and at the same time we see the same funny thing, and we both would catch it.
Just look at each other and crack up for sure. Yeah, because bass players and drummers we always connected for life, man. Always connected for life, man. But yeah, man, here we are kicking it, man, with John Rashad, Al Rashad. They're my funk fam here on Funk Music with Zack, IBM.TV. So y'all check us out. We're around the world. So let's get into it a little bit. As a professional traveling touring musician, John, obviously COVID has kind of changed the way you have to do it now. Maybe more online stuff until it gets back, right? At the same time, we had the BML movement happening, and West Coast, where you live at, California, big part of, the whole matrix. And I know this doesn't affect you at all, but you're such a kind, kindred spirit, right? How did it give you any inspiration to write any new material about what's happening right now? That's kind of like my question. Because I know a lot of people are writing about stuff they see. So where are you approaching your newest stuff from this environmental powder keg we're living in right now?
Well, first, it really does affect me, but as far as inspiration and everything like that, and what I feel my role is, if I'm even that significant, which I don't believe, I just feel like most artists on that side of that facet of my being, most artists believe that it's their job to reflect times, As far as, I guess, my responsibility, try to show. What am I trying to say? I guess my flag is hope. Hopefully,
right. Amen.
Not. There's just so much injustice. It's a whole can of worms. I can't really get into right now, but it's hard to put into words the way those things make me feel. I mean, anybody black watching this knows how much. What are you going to do about it? What can you do about it? Stand together, unite. There's strength in numbers. And personally, it gets into my music, and I guess I would say into my writing and into what I want to put out and things like that.
Right.
It's just really hard to communicate what exactly that is. It's a feeling.
Yeah.
And I do my best to reflect the way I feel about those things and put that out to my music.
Yeah, cool. And I apologize for saying it doesn't affect you, because it does. That's kind of like where I wasn't going with that. I just kind of was thinking in terms of the music thing, as far as still having a spot to actually get down. Because right now I know a lot of musicians where they actually lost their spot. And
you mean logistically?
Yeah. And people's music at the pawn shops. I went there the other day because I'm always snooping around, and I saw a lot of musicians just selling their stuff because they can't play and they need it for food and rent. What I mean?
I thought you were being like spiritual or something.
No.
Last year was the first year since maybe 2012 that I was like, all right, let me just go see what this thing is. So I started going out more and doing bigger tours and things like that. I'm usually just doing my own thing. I just don't care.
Yeah.
What else is going on. Last year was the first year of me being out here. It's like, well, let me just see what it is. So,
Mm-hmm.
shows and tours and things like that, and traveling, and that all stopped. So I'm just back to where I was like 2018. So it's not really that big of a deal for me personally. It's more so maybe a few years ago, I just started wanting more assets, and since I'm not a real estate agent or stockbroker, assets for
Mm-hmm.
me is publishing for placements or state licensing, anything like that. So
Yeah.
luckily, that is kind of held through this entire time.
Right, yeah. See, that's one thing I give you guys a lot of credit for, because you guys were on this before all of this actually started happening, and right now I talk to so many people, and we're just getting into that now. We was talking about this last time about digitally where things are going, where people are going to be able to perform, buy, sell, etc. Vibe with people.
Mm-hmm.
And how is that in Florida? How's it working? Are there people out actually trying to gig, or are there festivals, concerts, or what's going on down there?
Slowly but surely, they're kind of opening back up. I mean, the first thing they did was like the cats that do the solo act guitar thing or whatever. So they did that. Other places, outdoor places, they had a limited
Mm-hmm.
audience.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
kind of spread across the state.
Capacity. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that type of thing. And then, of course, people are doing the virtual thing too. They'll go in the studio and do a live feed like we're doing now, and perform.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah,
just had a
yeah.
friend release his single, and as part of that, he did an interview, and then he did had the band play, and he did a video for his uh, his project.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just whatever, however.
However, whatever. Yeah, yeah. That's kind of like where everybody is, until things can kind of, at least get back. I know people here have been renting out drive-in theaters and things of
Yep.
that nature, kind of making it work that way. So I don't know. I'm just curious what, John, what other parts of the world are doing when I talk to people, because, obviously being from New York, now I'm in North Carolina, it's a whole different kind of vibe. You know what I'm saying? And I talked to a few people I know out there on the West Coast, and, they're still, I guess you guys are still figuring things out, but because of Hollywood and because of just where the West Coast is and being this entertainment giant, you know, people back east, we're looking at California like, okay, what is California going to do so we can then do it? You know what I mean? It's like you guys are the main ones. People think it's New York, but it's not. It's really Cali, and even New York is like, okay, what are they? What? How are they going to make this work? Because with Broadway and all that other stuff, it's chaos a little bit right now up there. Even though they said things are coming back, but everybody's obviously worried about safety, man.
Sure.
So tell me a little bit about this next clip, if you don't mind, John. We're going to show it. She's always a woman. You were doing some stuff in the studio. Is that cool?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
That clip, just Billy Joel was one of the first. I don't know, like when I was a
I'll be
kid,
right back.
listening to the radio, he was one of the first
Mm-hmm.
um, artists that I was just attracted to for whatever reason. I think for the
Yeah.
longest, that was probably the first song that really took me on it. I would hear it in grocery stores and this and that, and then
Yeah.
I just did more research, and all of his songs are amazing. And that song to me, I just love the harmony and the melody.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I just sat around for about a year trying to figure out how could I pull it off on a bass, just to try it out.
Yeah. 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 Well.
Um, because I hate that when people tap. Other than Stan with Jordan, most guys sound like two mediocre guitar players.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not really good idea. So it's more so trying to figure out what harmonies are essential and what I could use.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what came out.
Wow. Yeah, it is beautiful the way you did it. I'm going to have my producer, Mark Lee, making this show work back there. I'm going to have him throw this up for us, man, because a lot of things that you do, certain things I pick out and I listen to over and over again because I'm just so like proud, man, of how you and what you do. Trust me when I tell you. So we're going to go ahead and run that clip, man, and then we'll get back and do some more chatting up and get to the Prince story and all that good stuff too, man. So again, John Rashad is hanging with us today on IBM.TV Super Sunday, and his dad, Al Rashad, as well. Two phenomenal bass players. Fortunate to have both of them, in my life as family, and it's a beautiful thing, man. So, John is gracious enough to join us from California today. I'm a little tired myself, man. I've been up for days and days, it seems like. Yeah, I feel you. Last night I was up late, trying to record some stuff and get some tracks done, and before I knew it, it was like 4:30,
Send me some of that stuff.
Yes, I absolutely will. I'll send you some MP3s. Yeah, I'm trying to get as much as I can done before this week. I got something I got to take care of, but I'll definitely make sure that you get it, man, because we're on the down low, keeping it quiet until we can actually put it out there. I'm waiting on my man Mark back there. Going to run this video for John Rashad. And here you are, brother. I love that bass too, and I notice you have your signature basses as well.
Oh, sure.
We're just waiting on him to pull up the volume.
Oh my God, this is so old. It's funny seeing that.
What kind of signature bass is that you have?
That particular bass was not a signature.
Okay, that's not just okay.
No, that was made by a company in New York called Federa, and
okay.
I just did that myself,
Is the company that supplies your basses now? I know I saw one. I'm not sure, but it was like really sleek. It was nice. Had that beautiful cursive J on in the neck. Right? Is that the bass I'm thinking about?
Like more recently?
Yes, more recently. Yes.
Well, the thing is, the basses I play now are half
okay
and half fretted.
Okay.
Half fretted and half fretless. That's my signature bass. But,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just always like the Limnescape, the infinity symbol. And,
Tell me about that, because that's interesting. Half fretless and half regular. Tell me about that after this clip. I want to get into that a bit.
Yeah.
I'm curious. And I see you got that hard key back there, man. That's like, what's up?
Oh yeah, Larry's a great guy. I love Larry. Cool stuff.
I don't know why we're not getting any volume.
That clip was done for this series back in the day called Gospel Chops, run by a guy named Gerald Forrest.
Uh-huh.
And I do remember that day we flew in the morning. I was in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't the production wasn't there.
Okay.
Did all these clips and flew back and sang it.
Okay. We're going to come back to that. We're going to put John back on the full screen, and we'll get back to that, Mark. You can work on that. That's cool. Not a problem. Because I want to finish talking to him about this half fretless, half non-fretless bass. So tell me, who designed that, and where did you come up with that concept? Because that's pretty slick.
Thanks, man. So that idea, I remember when I first got with Taylor, the guys that make the tremolo bar for bass. It was a guy that was working with him. His name was Josh Vitek, and I don't know where we were. Maybe some convention or something. And it was like, you got to check this bass out, man. It's there's a guy named John Brown. He's got a company, a factory in Minnesota, all places, and he makes these out of control basses. And he was making this prototype of a half fretted, half fretless.
Uh-huh.
And my application for anything like that, even with the tremolo, when I would try to get people to install it on normal basses, they'd be like, "Oh, it's gonna mess with the tone. And it's how much more it's worth, and this and that." But anything that's out of the norm or has not been used, there is no real like uh, precondition for that. There's
Right.
no history. It's you got to figure it out. So I was just willing to take those risks, and especially since that the fretless part is on the top 12 frets.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm playing up there, it's more of an expression type of thing anyway. So as much as that as I can get, like that,
Right.
So I just went with it. And we ended up building a base over the course of a couple of years, and
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's the first time I actually heard or tell of it. I've heard of it before, but I never knew anyone that actually played one. And that's got to be, really, really cool to be able to split that whole concept back and forth. That's the type of, genius mind that you were blessed with, man. And that's got to be really slick to do that, to, be thinking in one term and then all of a sudden, thinking in a completely other term. So, Al, have you ever played John's half fretless and half regular fretted bass?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, when they debuted it in Nam,
Uh huh.
um, I went to the booth and I played around with it, a little bit. And of course, when he, came to Jacksonville, he has it with him, so I'll pick it up and kind of play with it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's up, man. That's really slick. I was telling John I had never really heard of that before. Actually somebody had actually played one, man, and that's like an amazing thing. Basically, when it comes down to guitars and basses, obviously, we were talking about his own bass and the endorsements that he has, Hardkey and Ampeg and things of that nature, and your sound. I saw you on a clip, John. You were, I think, in Germany or London or England, somewhere, and you were playing, man. And that sound and what you were doing, I was just like, whoa, you've definitely conquered and mastered some of that, what you were trying to get out to a live thing where it sounds really sweet and sounds awesome. And again, your signature sound as well. So we were trying to figure out what was happening with the clip, and my producer's working on that in the back. But just tell us a little bit. We're going to get into this Prince story. Tell us about that, John. When one day, out of the blue, bang, you get this call from obviously this amazing man.
Sure. So I was actually at Navy. It was 2010 or 2011 or something. I don't know. But I just finished my second instrumental album with drummer Dave Fleckel and guitarist Ingrid Now, and the guy that mixed his name was David Isaac, and he ended it off
Mm-hmm.
to his friend Morris Hayes, who was in the NPG. I think he was like NPG something like that. Amazing keyboard player, right? But he heard it, and the next day he came back and he was like, "Man, I didn't know, I didn't know it was like that." Um, so, you mind if I give this to Prince? And I was just like, "Yeah, sure, okay. Whatever you want to do." Um, so a week later, it's like Sunday, and I'm just hanging out with my friend, and we're playing a video game or something, probably 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and I get a phone call, and it was a lady. No, it was actually Morris saying, "Hey man, Prince's gonna call you." I'm like, okay. So then maybe a few minutes later, a lady calls and she's like, "Okay, I'm Prince's sister. He's gonna call you in a few minutes."
Right.
Then it was finally him, and he was just like, um, "I like your record. Can you get me Minneapolis tomorrow?" Yeah. I was, yeah, sure.
Right.
Then Morris calls back and says, okay, so they're gonna send you all these songs, and so I was just packing and writing songs and getting ready to. I didn't tell anybody because I don't really tell anybody anything until it actually happens.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Just because I like to keep it,
Yeah.
myself in that way. So I'm on the plane, or I'm on the walkway, the jetway, and that's when I finally called everybody and let them know. So I get there, get to Minnesota, and go to the hotel. 9 p.m. his assistant picks us up, go to the studio, and in the studio is me and the drummer named Chris Coleman, amazing
Hmm.
drummer, amazing drummer. So we're just warming up, maybe 30, 40 minutes, while we're sitting here. The way the studio was set up is it's like maybe a 40-foot long live room at Paisley Park. So we're all the way in the back. All the way in the front is like a door to get in, obviously. So I'm looking down, playing something, and then all of a sudden there's this crazy floral, this wild smell. I look up, and Prince is walking towards me.
Great story. I love it.
He walks up to me, and I get up off the stool I'm sitting on, and he was just like, "No, don't get up, man." Are you kidding me? That's just the kind of guy he was. Because honestly, prior to that, the only thing I knew of Prince was the Dave Chappelle skits and Purple Rain.
Right.
So
Right.
I had no idea what he was going to do. He was great. He was thanking me for coming and he was walking me. What was that you just playing? We were actually playing here quite a little bit. It was like the Organic Station. You know, there? And I was like, yeah. He was like, oh, man, we're going to have a good time. So that was kind of how that started off.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, man. So most people would think, okay, you went and kind of did this Prince-ish, funkish thing, but you actually did some jazz stuff, right? Is that correct from what I hear?
No, the stuff we actually recorded some songs, and
Uh-huh.
it was just a typical Prince thing at that time. Yeah, 2010. Yeah, it was just like normal pop funk stuff.
Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure. Yeah, cool.
So we were rehearsing, and my thing was I didn't want to get trapped into like the sort of fusion instrumental. I mean, I love that music, the players, the audience. Um, that's just not really what I want to do. And so I was really grateful for the opportunity to be able to play bass lines and with Prince of all people. And it was wild because I remember before, maybe a few years before, people were coming up to me and giving me the band, like, man, or I'd see them, and yeah, if you ever meet Prince, don't do this, don't do that, don't try to impress them, don't play the solos, you know what I mean? That sort of thing.
Right. 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 Right.
But as soon as we hit the stage, I remember we were playing, what song was it? Like, some Jimmy Hendrix song.
Hmm.
Castle Magic. He turns around and says, okay, play a solo. It's like, wait, I wasn't doing. And then every song, for the rest of the time we're listening, we did a solo on every song. And then he asked, okay, what do you think? And I was like, I think this is great, but I'm just really excited to play some of these songs. And that's when he told me, he was like, when we go out, you're going to have to do all that stuff. Like, overall, you're a legendary song and pop song.
Hmm.
That was cool. He was in a different headspace, I guess. I don't know
Yeah.
how his other headspaces, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
very supportive and very encouraging of everything.
Yo, that's mad cool, man. And this is the kind of stuff that people get here at IBM.TV, hanging out with John Rashad, his dad, Al Rashad, two of the most phenomenal bass players. I have yet to work with John, but that's coming soon, I'm sure. I worked with his dad for many, many years in New York. So, just when your dad was telling me that, I was like, okay, when is it? Where is it coming out? And how can I hear it? Because again, just watching everything that you've done in your career and just blowing up and everything, man. It gave me great pride. And that's something I'm always going to keep telling you because it's absolutely true. So here we are, 2020, and we're trying to get through this thing we call life, but what are you actually working on now that's kind of you plan to do in the future as far as the any music or where they can find your platforms at and things of that nature? Where do you think you want to take it over the next 10 years? And I know it's a loaded question.
Yeah, I love to perform more. At the moment, the only way I can really do that is with video and online. So I'm working on a lot of those things. Um, there are other artists I'd love to work with, and actually, my brother Patrick was in the band with me. We have a production company working with a lot of different artists and different Warner and Universal.
Mm-hmm.
So helping or being part of a creative team where put out music is another. As far as 10 years from now, I'm not sure. I just know I want to do something great.
Right, and you will for sure.
So
You play keyboards too, right?
yeah, to some degree.
In some degree, okay. Because I know your dad, he was telling me about that as well. About how you be chopping it up. He said, "Man, you should play keyboards too." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Okay."
I know enough to know. I mean, for me, just knowing how chords work and
Yeah.
just how to compose and all your keys and as far as like key signatures, not just
right.
Yeah,
Right.
all that's really important for me to know because they're all just colors. So,
Yeah.
But as far as playing, no, I there are many more people far greater than me.
You are such a humble cat, man. I'm telling you. And here we are hanging out with John Rashad and his dad, Al Rashad, on Funk Music with Zack. We kicking it kind of slow today. It's all good. It's laid back. John has been gracious enough to join us from California, so it's a little bit early out that way. And here we are just sitting talking about this young man's career, and you guys need to go support this brother and see all the type of things that he does with his musical gift. He is a genius. He is a prodigy, and I say that with all honesty because I've been there and seen it. And when people come up to you, right, and if you had a young man or a young woman come up to you, and what would you tell them as far as getting into this business? Any advice or anything, little tidbits that you might want to drop on them as far as the business side of this thing we do?
That's another big question. But honestly, in my experience, this world responds to different people in different ways. So it's just best to be yourself, learn your craft in and out. That's what's going to sustain you.
Yeah.
But I've got a really great friend, one of my best friends out here. His name is Alex Burke, and his thing is he likes to say that a large percentage of the success, money, whatever it is, just getting the gig. You know what I mean? There's so much networking and hanging out and stuff like that. So those chops are just as important as the music chops. So
yes, they are. Yep.
I'm not saying be likable or anything because I don't really know what that means. And it implies a change of character in some way. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's really important to get to know as many people as you can and find where you fit in.
Yeah, that's right.
because that's, this whole thing, like I said, works on recommendation.
Yeah, and that's great,
Yeah.
and that's some good advice. And and you're, I would say, a veteran of the business now, even though you're at this, kind of young age, and you're not young by no means, but you're a veteran, and you handle most of your own business, correct?
Yeah, I've had different managers here and there, and I go between that and
Hmm.
whole Prince mentality. Why can't people manage themselves?
Yes, and I love that. I love that mentality. You're
But
absolutely right.
yeah, and when it gets to be too much, then I'll outsource, and I have a few friends and different folks that help me.
Hmm.
It just depends on what the situation is. Case by case.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where we are. I mean, obviously, independent artists, that is the new norm. And as far as taking care of one's business, that's some of us, had to learn that the hard way, you know, and watching so many outstanding, people now in the business do it, and the rappers kind of showed us that path, and Prince, obviously, and Bootsy Collins, and that whole thing where you got to take control. I had Bootsy's wife on Peppermint Patty, and she was saying, telling young kids, develop your catalog, and make sure you got your publishing, just the basics, like you're talking about.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, doing shows. I mean, like even if this COVID thing wasn't around, doing shows can be cool, but I guess everyone has different goals. Me, I want to be making money while I'm sleeping. So
Yeah,
that's what I headed towards is publishing it, because you get back and as long as whatever you're doing, and it doesn't have to be a lot, but you should build those things up, because
hmm,
you know dollars add up.
yeah,
So
they do.
yeah, publishing, sing, like all your licensing, all that stuff.
Hmm.
Important to have, and writing as many songs just to get good at the craft and understanding what's happening right now, as far as whatever the vibe is, knowing what that is, and trying to predict where it's going and all that sort of thing. What's moving people, uh,
Yeah,
in as many different genres as possible. If you're going to get into the production.
yeah. I think because I've watched so many people develop this online skill, and what people are actually um, trying to make work. They say some of the best ideas are born out of necessity. And I'm very excited to see, even though we're going through this suffrage, and it's a lot of crazy stuff in the world, and we're not in such a good place. But on the other hand, I've always been a glass half full kind of guy, and I'm very excited to see what's going to be born out of this particular necessity over the next 10 years as far as the music game goes, because right now, already there are so many new innovative ways that people are trying to do the same thing, which is great, because everybody's like, hey, let's try to do this on Tuba, let's try to do that on YouTube or whatever. And basically, with all of that in the pot, it only makes things sweeter. You know what I mean? It only makes things sweeter, man. And here we are hanging out with John Rashad, and his dad, Al Rashad, two of the most genuine, down to earth, humble men that I know in this world, And again, his son, John Rashad, if you don't know about him, go look him up, Google him. Where can they find your music? Where are your platforms at, like Spotify, iTunes? Let us know where that is.
All that stuff's down right now. I'm redoing everything. So, but I mean, there's
Okay.
some YouTube stuff and maybe some
Uh-huh.
Spotify stuff, but um, yeah, in an attempt to reorganize everything with new music I'm working on and production company I'm working with and
Okay.
business advisors and some social media people. We're redoing everything. So maybe in like a month or two. But I mean, there's stuff out there, and if people are interested, they'll find it. They'll, yeah.
Yeah, that's the good thing about it, because social media nowadays, even though some people like it, some people don't, I personally think it has its place, because we need it, obviously. But we can touch base with a lot more people at one time now, and I always tell my daughters, I was like, thank God you're in this age of this, because I can't imagine us going through this pandemic thing and not being able to communicate like we are now. You know what I mean? I can't even, I wouldn't even want to think about that. And we're not going to get into the elephant in the White House and get into the donkeys in the White House, because we all know the White House, the HUD house, you know what I'm saying? It's all a house, but one thing I do know is that people like yourself inspire others. And you're such a humble guy, so laid down, so low key, so laid back, and everything that you do, that you're putting out to the universe, brother, is going to come back to you 100-fold. You know what I mean? Because you deserve all of that, man. Much praise, much thanks, much love, man. I ain't going to hold you too much longer, man. I just wanted to give you a shout out. You guys can find John Rashad. He'll be on my page. He's on all the social media outlets. Go Google him, check out his work. He's played with everybody from Prince all the way to Andre Simone to, many of the other artists that he deals with as well. He's a prodigy. Go look him up. You won't be sorry. And I'm telling everybody who watches Funk Music with Zack on IBM.TV, this brother right here, let me point, make sure I got you. The real deal. You the real deal. And I think my producer got something pulled up for us, so we're going to check this out. It was so nice to have you, man. It was so cool. I want you to come back, man, next time, and, maybe you can play a little bit, at your convenience. I know you're busy, but come on back, man, and hang out with us, man,
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yes. We should be hearing sound right now. If not, we'll make it work next time. No I apologize for it. Yeah, I apologize for it. I'm not sure what happened, but we'll make it work next time, man. But, man, come on back and hang out with us sometime. Bring your acts. And maybe you and your dad can do something together. That would be nice. And anytime you want to hit me up with something, let me know. I'm definitely going to, send you some stuff that we're working on this end and making that work. Oh, let me hear. Okay, see what Mark got. Okay, here we go. I think your dad had to go too. So on behalf of your father, Al Rashad, he definitely has a beautiful son, beautiful spirit, definitely does. Don't worry about that, Mark. It's cool, man. We'll get that. We'll make that work next time. And we could have John actually play live, maybe, you know what I mean, to make up for that. So, again, thank you for being a guest today. Fantastic guest. Our guest today on IBM.TV, John Rashad. Peace and love. Namaste. Stay safe out there. Keep doing the incredible things that you're doing and keep striving and keep reaching for it, man. Again, mad shouts, mad props to you. You have a great day, brother.
You too.
Hey, John, just great music. I was really impressed with the music that you got and everything. So definitely was enjoying those sounds. Really enjoying what you're all about in terms of being with Prince and all of that. So definitely just want to thank you for being on this show. And definitely, I think folks are in for definite treats whenever you could come back. So we're looking forward to having you back.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Peace out.
All right, take care.
Enjoy that. And stay safe with all the fires and everything out there. Mad respect and much love, man. I'm praying for that all of that stuff cease to happen. I'm praying for that. I didn't forget about that, man.
Same here.
Take care, bro. Love you, man.
Love you too. Bye.
All right. That was the man. John Rashad and his dad Al. Today was kind of a weird day on Funk Music with Zack. We had a few technical difficulties, but we always work through it. You know, that young man is truly a prodigy, truly gifted. Everything he does and all the people that he works with, from Prince on down. I'm fortunate to have known him since he was like 3 years old. So I'm going to leave you with some Prince on Funk Music with Zack. I love y'all. See y'all next week. Mad shouts out to Afterglow, Benevolent Funk, Dynasty, and Otis Hawk. I love y'all. Constantly rocking my hat. I love it. Funk Music with Zack on IBM.TV. And don't forget, go to the dollar store and check it out. Lynn Shepard is on there. He'll send you some tokens. Hit the big green button. Check out the other shows. Mark Lee got a show on Mondays. Economics, business, all types of shows. They run 7 days a week here on IBM.TV. So make sure y'all hang out with us today.
Yeah, we've got some great programming. I've also seen that Jimmy Eden has joined us as well. So I want to bring Gene M to the conversation. Jim is an amazing guy. He's got the Chess for Dummies, and he's got all that kind of stuff happening. So definitely want to thank him for joining us, and hopefully we'll have some other people joining in the conversation as well. I just want to know from you, Jim, what did you think about the Rose Garden? Because apparently we're having the Rose Garden change, and they're going to do a redesign on the Rose Garden. So I just want to know what you thought of that, and then we'll go from there, and hopefully we'll hear some other guests as well. So, Jim, it's on you. Tell us what you think.
Thanks, Mark. And Zack, you got to hook me up with your graphics designer, man. I am so jealous. Or a jelly.
You jelly. Well, his name is Mr. Curtis Wilcox. I plan to have him on the show. And he came up under the Pedro Bells and the Ronald Stozo, of the world. And, it's all in that spirit of that funk thing, man.
I love everything. Everything I've seen, I've loved it.
Thank you. I'll let Curtis know. I'll tell him. Okay. He's got a fan.
And Mark, back to your question. This administration has changed all of our traditions, including all of the foundations of our government. The Department of Justice used to be independent of the presidency, and that has changed. And so there's just, I can go on and on about, and I think this latest example is just one of those things. The Rose Garden has meant something for generations, and he's going to change that too. So, what's next? I have no idea. I think it's only going to get worse if he thinks he's losing.
Well, I mean, we're already hearing him talking about the fact that he wants to do the delivery of his acceptance from the Republican Party on the Rose Garden itself. So he's talking about doing it from the White House. I believe that's against the law in terms of like the Hayes Act and things of that nature. So he's already finding things like that are going against what folks should be doing. So I don't understand where he's going with that or how that's happening. So definitely I thought that was just something really amazing that he would even go there and have that happen. So like I said, I'm trying to figure out how that's all going to play out and what's going to go on with that. But I was wondering what your take is on this and whether you think that that's something that he's actually going to manage to pull off and folks will be happy about, or what's going on with that. Because like I said, I was really shocked by him doing that and was not too pleased with that. But I was just wondering what your take on him trying to, I guess it'll be Thursday, do his delivery and his acceptance of the Republican nomination from the Rose Garden. Maybe that's why he was trying to do a redesign.
Yeah. Well, there's no question about that, Mark. and I'm fascinated to all a tingle with excitement about the Republican National Convention, because I just want to see the tenor and tone of it compared to the Democratic National Convention, which is all about unifying the country. And so, you know, let's see what they got up their sleeves, because I put nothing past them. And you think it's against the law? When has that mattered? This, you know, asking a foreign government to interfere in a domestic election is the definition of an impeachable offense. And our Senate just said, well, it's okay. So what can't he do? What will he be held accountable to? Who can stop him from doing anything he wants? And if he does lose, there's still a time between November and January when he's out of office. And that will be a very dangerous time in America, in the United States.
The thing that scares me the most is that I understand, you know, with absolute power comes absolute corruption, they say. But the thing that scares me the most is that people have, hey, Kim, people have started to drag in other things that never really had anything to do with politics. So some of these things that are being drug into this thing, they absolutely should not be it should be a partisan thing. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be where you got to pick a side, because I don't like it when people say I'm less un-American or I'm un-American because I feel a certain way. That never was an issue before. It was just like you an American with a different opinion. But because now, if you don't agree with something, all of a sudden, so many people that have paid taxes, voted their whole life, have tried to be the best patriot they could be, are all of a sudden saying, hey, well, you know, you're not agreeing with me, so that makes you un-American. And that is not it. That's
Zack, what you're talking about, things that just weren't issues before, such as the postal system. People are not getting their medications in a timely way now. That's not a partisan issue. It shouldn't be. Everybody should be able to rely on the mail. So slowing that down is just unprecedented in our history. Yeah. So, you know, there's a lot of things that we just don't know how to deal with because we've never had to deal with this stuff before.
That's a temper tantrum. It's like somebody going, I'm going to hold my breath until you give me my way. And politically, I think a lot of things that are happening, like Zack said, should not be political. We should be addressing the issues. And that's one of the things I was very proud of the Democratic. Not that I watched it. I actually rely on White House Bill. I totally made a promise that I would not watch any of it, so I would not be leaned one way or the other, because what I really try to do is focus on the issues and the right person for the job for those issues. I also look at the person. Would I hire them, right? Do they have the characteristics and the qualities in a person that I would personally hire, because that's what the president is. But I agree with Zack in so many ways that there are so many things being drug into a political the atmosphere. And I want to tell you what, you know, my whole life, and I'm not as old as Zack, close, but maybe he got to vote one more time than me. But I've been around a long time, just like you guys. And from the first year I got to vote, I've always had eloquent mature political conversations with people, whether we agreed or not. It was always mature. Always. Nobody ever goes, I hate you, you. I mean, and I kid you not, I have been called everything. And sometimes I don't even get into controversy, right? I'll just go, this is what I saw and this is what I think is great. And then, you effing, you. I have been called everything.
You're nasty.
This happened at the last election. I noticed just a little bit, right? People would cut me off and, you know, you're no friend of mine. And I'm like, wow, okay. He's just the president. Like, I thought we could, friends were friends. You know, why are we, you know, losing somebody over somebody we don't even know? I don't even personally know him, or if I did, I would never let him get in the way. But what I've noticed and then I noticed somebody from another country posted this the other day. I don't understand what happened in America. In the last 4 years, people have become very rude. So that's a huge statement from somebody not even American that's been here for a while to say in the last 4 years your country has become very the people have. I can't post something somewhat nice or a question, is this true about Trump? And they'll come in and just say the rude. And then people were saying things so rude, like I don't even want to say it on the show, but it was embarrassing rude. Like, you know,
Don't give us examples. We know what you mean.
No, it was embarrassing rude, like some of the things they were saying. So I just, I want to see some eloquence come back to our country. Yes. I want to see, I miss Obama. He was not my favorite president, but I really miss him.
Eloquent.
Because he was eloquent. I used to have dreams about having Thanksgiving with him. I would have dreams, and he would. I loved his smile. Like, I just loved his smile, and I would dream that I would get to go to the White House and have Thanksgiving, and he would turn around and smile at me and hand me some turkey. And I go, wow, why am I having these dreams? Because again, he's not my favorite, but I did love him as far as everything else goes, right? And I miss that. I miss somebody that I could look up to and go, wow, he's cool as far as when he talks, and I think Biden and Kamala can bring some of that eloquence back.
Kamala.
There's Kamala. I think there's something very eloquent, whether you like her or not, whether she's too tough in law enforcement or not. There's something very eloquent about her. And we need that in America. We need some hope. Guys, hope is not my thing, right? Hope is not a tactic in my world. Whenever somebody says, I hope, I go, I hope not. I hope we got a better plan than that.
Yeah, you can't live without hope, though.
Well, the thing is everybody says that, but to me, hope is not a tactic, right?
Well, I'm not saying it's a tactic, but I'm saying it's important to live with hope.
But here's the thing. We're in a low point in life, and my dad always told me that you need to see a light at the end of the tunnel.
It's hope.
And yeah, again, he knew I didn't count on that, so he had to teach.
That doesn't pay the bills.
I think Zack gets it, right? Zack gets where I'm coming from because he knows. But
what's that on your chin, Zack? It's getting longer.
Yes, it's my COVID growth. And I'm growing it until
COVID.
So we get a vaccine. Once we get a vaccine, I will do a public shaving of my COVID growth. Until then, I'm growing it.
Can you do?
Yeah, I saw a little thing with first, and now it's getting bigger.
Colonel
Hold on 1 second. Ankit,
you should dye it either with blue or red colors based on your preference.
Yeah,
well, no, I had it purple, but I have to. I can't go in the hospital like that.
No, but right now it's all about red or blue. It's not about purple.
Once I come out of the hospital, I'll re-dye it.
There's no purple.
Purple.
I like the purple, but here's the thing. I had a friend of mine, and he dyed red, white, and blue because he had a very white beard like you, and he did. And it was really cool. And he came to a huge event, like a huge, not political event, but a huge business event with it. And his boss man was a little upset with him. I go, oh, no. This is like bringing light and conversation to the table, right? Because sometimes it gets boring in those big business meetings. But I
have a question to all the panelists. I don't know somehow, but in India right now, the news is that Trump's sister has said something, and that's on big in India right now. That Trump's sister, she doesn't fond of Trump, and there is some kind of a family feud going on, and she's vouching for Biden and all this stuff. So I'm not sure whether the news is correct or not. But what's going on at your end?
So I'm going to vouch something here because I think I don't trust sibling warfare. He might not have paid her allowance. She might have, once. So I don't trust sibling warfare and banter. I really don't. I could give a dang what she says either way about him because it's sibling. And that's how I feel, because quite frankly, if you talk to any of my family, and especially ones that I don't give money to anymore, they're not going to say anything nice about me. So
usually that's very wise and very adult of you. So let's hear from the non-adult in the room.
That's not adult. That's not adult. But go ahead.
And the choice of words that she used was he's amoral, and you cannot trust him. And so regardless of who says that and what their relationship is to him, I think those are words of truth, and that we should pay attention to them.
Well, because you know other things about him. But again,
Right.
Coming from a sibling, my siblings made up crap about me.
Of course. So do mine.
I can only go by what happened in New York, what I actually saw with my own eyes. Okay. So again, I know like the stuff that where she was going with that may be a family thing, but he made no bones about how things were being run in certain buildings that he owned, and I'll just leave it at that.
I agree with you.
So once
putting a C on an application, what did the C mean?
Yo, I'm telling you, and it was at a time where there was still Abdul Lawima going on, and there was still other issues about stop and frisk. So his thing didn't really become a thing until we got through some other stuff. But there have been a lot of things, lawsuits and things filed against landlords of the landlords that this particular gentleman is involved with, or himself as well. And as New Yorkers, we just viewed this man as just a person of that. We never got close. I actually told you I met him. Windows on the World. I was playing up there, and he literally, I bent down to pick up my equipment, and he stepped over me and almost tripped himself. And this is a true story. We were on the 106th floor, and then I looked up, and I didn't even realize who it was. And they said, "Oh, there's the, so-and-so." And I was like, "Oh, well, that was very kind of him to almost step on me." And then he was at the affair right next to where I was at. So, that's a billionaires club. But as an entertainer, I'm like, well, okay, you walk one step at a time like me. You drove in a car like me. You came here with other people like me. So you're no better than me. And that's my one story. But I know there are things that happen that people were just not very proud about when it came to that man.
If I could share my screen for just a second, I'm going to share with you when people talk about pedophile and they're trying to accuse Biden. As far as I'm concerned, so the series of pictures for years, look who Trump hung out with, right? So I agree with you, Zach. There are things that I have seen. There are things that I have seen when I was at the White House working and doing some things. There are some things that I've seen. But look, a series of years, not just when he was very young, over the years, who was he friends with? Okay? Who did he party with and hang out with? So when people sit there and try to run Biden in the ground, I tell them that, one, this is who he partied with. And two, Biden is the only one who put laws in place to get rid of pedophiles, period. So show me where Trump put in a law to get rid of pedophiles or get rid of domestic violence. He didn't. In fact, he stopped the funding for those kind of things. So don't sit there and tell me that, because there's pedophilia.
Anyone else scared? I'm getting scared, Kimberly.
No, don't need to get scared. She's just telling you the truth. That's all. And the truth is what a lot of folks need to hear. There's no problem with that at all. The truth is definitely what folks need to hear. By the way, J.H. Kim, who is a fan of IBM.TV and actually lives where you live at, Jim E., is out of California, but she was giving lots of praises to a lot of our folks here. She was saying how honest and open she loved you being, Kim. So she was saying how honest and open she loved you being and found your style to be refreshing. And she wanted to thank you. And to Zach, she was saying that she remembers windows on the world, because she worked on Wall Street and she left that cesspool because she was tired of that whole cesspool that was over there. And so she was definitely making some other comments as well, because she talked about the corruption and the things of that nature. So she definitely some of her news.
It's true.
But I
To
think
California. And the other thing I was going to just add really quickly is apparently the tape was a secretly recorded tape. So it was a recorded tape by the niece who had actually done the book and everything. So some of it might also have been around publicity and things of that nature. But, you
Yeah.
know, a lot of times when things are being recorded that we don't know is being recorded, that's when we say what we are truly feeling and things of that nature. So it might have been that she actually was saying what she really felt, and that is the sister that is the federal judge. So yeah, I'm thinking that if she was asked that by the news media, she would probably take a whole different approach and would probably stay within the family and try to do that insular kind of thing that families are known for doing. But hey, it was a secret tape. Somebody asked her a question, and she revealed how she really felt about her brother and things of that nature. So that is what I have learned about that particular tape. I was not aware of it until one of y'all brought it up today, because I had missed that story. But that is what I'm hearing, is that it seems like it was that kind of recorded tape. So there is that issue of privacy and all of that. So that might be one of the issues that we have to think about. And even when we come back to like the schools, because I know a lot of folks are thinking about the schools and the fact of us going back into the schools. And because of that, I'm even wondering about privacy in regards to that. And I'd like to hear both Kim and Zach's take on this. But, you know, some schools are getting law enforcement involved in telling on the students and the things of that nature. I know we're in the middle of a pandemic. We definitely need to be safe and we need to be honoring the rules that people are giving us. But I do sometimes wonder if that is maybe pushing it over the line, if we're going to get law enforcement to basically rat out the school students. So I'd like to hear your take on that, Kim, and anybody else that wants to jump in.
Well, so my kids are long out of school, thank God. We were having a conversation about that today. But I've always been a huge advocate for better school systems. So even when I left, I always try to stay involved with making sure I vote in the right people. Where we sit today is at the unknown, right? We're in the twilight zone. And again, I think we need to be better planned and prepared. And I say that first and foremost, no other decision should be made until we hire a pandemic team, period. Because when you get infectious disease doctors in place that understand how to control situations, but all of this other stuff is just nothing but political games and trying to get money in from certain supporters. It has nothing to do with education. It has nothing to do with the quality of education. So that's my input. Until we get a pandemic team in place, nothing else should take place. Our children should come first when it comes to school. But if you don't mind, I'd like to defer this one to Zach, because he's got kids in school, and Kit has a little one, and we had this conversation. But yeah, go ahead, Zach.
Oh, I was just saying, I agree with you, because it should be about, and first of all, you know, I don't want people to think like Trump was the only man in New York that was like doing whatever he was doing. Because hey, let me tell you, I grew up around the mob. All right, I didn't see all kinds of stuff. So this is not like, oh, I'm throwing the president under the bus stuff. This is more like he threw us under the bus because of the things that he wanted to get accomplished. That I didn't agree with. That I can't stand. Having kids, and I have to, and I'm going to see my daughters in about 45 minutes. I have to look them in the eye when I see them, and I have to explain this. And when, as a parent, if you can't even wrap your head around it, how do you explain to a 12-year-old and a 16-year-old? Because we can't even comprehend this. This is why I got a lot of issues with what's going on as far as a parent. Number two, you're not using my kids as guinea pigs and send them to a school where you only got one janitor in the school and 2 cafeteria people. What happens when the food comes in? Who touches that? I don't want my social studies teacher handing out food. I don't want my gym teacher, you know, scooping potatoes, which is some kind of plan. No, you're not using my kids as guinea pigs. You're not going to do it. My kids are going to be homeschooled like Little House on the Prairie until we get this fixed, because I'm not sending my one daughter who takes a school bus 45 minutes in a bus full of potential other students that she could get sick or they could get sick. Number one, that's not going to happen. And number two, where is our game plan? Like Kim said, where is this pandemic team? We send people to the moon. We got a rover damn to get ready to touch down on Mars. Billions of dollars. People don't even know. One spacesuit, costs $6 million. $6 million is the price tag of one freaking spacesuit. I can't take that money and say, hold on, space shuttle, I got to send this and take care of the kids. You're not doing that. No, I'm not going to let you get away with that. I don't care. I'll drag my one-armed crippled self up to the White House myself and protest on August 28th because that's not going to happen. And then, where's the trillions of dollars for the second stimulus that people would have used to buy stuff like school clothes, which they don't need now? They need laptops. They need computers. They need hotspots, right? Every state is basically left on their own. And some states have more money than others. So how is that fair in the education system, especially for minorities? Come on, let's be real with it. Private schools have private funding for a reason. That's why their lawns look like golf courses. And you go downtown to East Durham and you look at that school, it's cement and rock. How is that possibly fair? Impossible. No, I'm not sending my kids to school. They're not going to be guinea pigs. We're going to get some kind of vaccine, and then we're going to go from there because it's not worth it. You're not taking my life. You know how hard it was for me to make Kayla Empire? Impossible. I can't duplicate that. And I'm not going to let somebody sitting somewhere far away from here that doesn't even understand my position right here. It's not going to happen. I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote, and I'm going to vote like I never voted before. And that's what everybody should do. Get out and vote.
You know what? I want Ankit to talk about this because he has a little one too. But Zack, I cannot help but get on my box here. Vote, people. Go out and vote. Don't sit there and wait for the ballot to go through the mail. Don't even risk it. And let me tell you why. Because years ago, I learned that they don't even count the mail-in ballots. They don't really count them. They wait until if there's a tie, then they use the absentee and the mail-in, but they've never counted the mail-in. And when I heard that, I never missed an election day after that. So vote, people, make a change. And Ankit, let's hear about your little one.
So it's all about, safety of your children. And then I will not send my child until we have 0 cases for next 100 days. And we can say that it's all clear. Because see, children's in India, I've seen schools in US as well. It's not possible to give social distancing. In fact, when Zack talked about the teenage girls, they are still understanding what COVID is all about. But you can't teach the same thing to our 4-year-old kid. And although she knows why we are at home and what we are trying to do and all this stuff, but it's not possible. And I'm concerned not about kids. It's all about the school infrastructure, because in school you have a lot of helpers. Then you have a lot of teachers, and a lot of people are a part of the school curriculum and the school ecosystem. And you can't take risk with one of them, because if you take risk with one, it will affect to everyone else. And if we can generate some kind of an online schooling platform or an ecosystem, because we have the technology running around. It's not that we don't have a technology, it's just that we don't have trainers to work it around and make sure that people understand how we have to utilize the technology and how we have to start the digital learning and all those things. But I will not send my child till the time we don't have any cases pending, and that's in India. But apart from that, when we talk about elections and all those stuff, as Zack mentioned about spacesuit and all those things, I wanted to know that why we are not accountable to our policy. So suppose if Trump or if our Prime Minister or if anyone else have a policy that, okay, I have this $2 million, I wanted to invest in something. And if not happening, then that person should be accountable. There is no accountability for anyone. They create a stimulus, they create a budget, and they spend it, and then there is no looking back. And if there is some problem, they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's not happening," and whatever it is. So that happened with the stimulus. We heard that it's one of the biggest stimulus, and people will get a lot of money. But I know a lot of people, they don't get anything out of it. So where is the money gone? And now there is no one else. No one is asking question about it. That what happened? So and see. Zack, I'm not against space and all those things, but I think we have still enough money which we can create and manage a lot of resources. It's not about
we could,
money from space, but we are not utilizing it and we are not distributing it the way we need to do. And that is what we have to require. Some people who are richer, they become richer and richer. but the middle class is always there. I mean, poor class, they get stimulus, but what about the middle class? So I think we don't have the right policies around the world. It's not just about US, and we are not taking it rightly. And I just wanted to understand one more thing, that when we have elections, at that time we talk about all those things, and then after that we forgot everything, because we
Right.
think that this person will stay for 4 years, and then after 4 years we will again talk about all these things. So we should have that running conversation going around and make him realize that he needs to, when you opted a leader, you have to protect that leader and take it forward. I am against one thing with Americans, is that Trump is your president right now. So whatever it is, you have to back it up till the time he's on the chair, because you have to respect that chair. People have started talking against Trump. I don't know why. I mean, see, it's about the chair of that seat, basically, which is more important. It's not about the person, because person will come and go back and all the stuff happening around. But how we can respect and how we can plan that chair to become a democratic chair, and it should work for the people, that is more important. And we have to look for that. And see, world needs a change. We are changing it out. I mean, in COVID also, we are doing a lot of changes, but we need to optimize ourselves and make sure to utilize $1 in place of $2, and that's how we can smartly spend it out.
Yeah.
That's what.
Lynn.
Hold on 1 second. I think had a guest, well, not a guest, but had one of the people on the that was watching, and they were wondering whether some people were going to open up and make their thoughts said. That being said, I'm going to turn it over to Lynn, because we've not heard from Lynn, so I want to hear what Lynn's got to say.
Len, you're muted.
Hold on a second.
We have a thunderstorm going on, so I didn't, I wanted to mute it a little bit. So I've been sitting here listening. Maybe I came in after the conversation started. I try to be neutral, okay? And I try and observe what's going on. Oops. Now there's something coming. I don't know what that was. That's not my thunderstorm.
That's where you got to bow down. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Lynn.
So anyway, here's my observation. Forgetting about Trump, and you've heard me say this before, I think both parties, but even people beyond the parties, have gotten to the point where they can't get along. And if you don't believe what this side says, then you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. I'm making a point. But wait a minute. If you don't believe what this side says, you're absolutely wrong, because nobody at this point is willing to get together and try and solve the problem together. The right doesn't want to solve it. The left doesn't want to solve it. If you don't believe what the right says, then you're wrong. If you don't believe what the left says, then you're wrong. Okay? And it goes beyond, to me, a lot of this goes to what happens in Congress. And frankly, I think if we could, and unfortunately they control what we do, but I think if we could do a big start over, it would be the best thing we could do for this country. Having said that, let's change and do a shift here. I want to talk about the dollar store.
Because
that's
let's
fun.
save some money and spend and save. But
What is dollar store? I'm not familiar with it.
Okay.
Tell us about the dollar store, Lynn.
Anyway.
Wait, Lynn, you have a question from the.
Well, I see. I believe people have and should have the opportunity to participate. Okay, and I think people should, but we don't have a system that's set up for that right now. Unfortunately, and it happens. You know, I once had a number 2 guy in one of my businesses, and Chris and I were having this conversation one day, and I said to Chris, I said, we need to get rid of all of them, every single one of them, because the people in Washington are just corrupt, and they care about is themselves. And so he said to me, then who are we going to replace them with? And I thought about that in a second, and I said, oh, well, that's probably the people who are in state governments. And he said, so he said, what? So he said, what are they like? And then I said, so once they move up, he said, then who are you going to replace in the state governments? I said, well, that's probably the people in the local governments. And what are the people? It becomes an education thing with people who get in government. I think day one, the first lesson they learn is Here's how you have to make it all about you and not about the people. And unfortunately, when somebody gets elected, somebody who goes into Congress, who really has a motivation to try and solve something for all of us, the big problem they have is that the people in Congress put them in a committee that is worthless, that doesn't have any power to do anything. They mute them because the people who are in control of what happens in Congress, and it's both sides, Republicans and Democrats. I'm not saying that it's one side versus the other. Basically, they don't let these people participate. But so I hope I answered the lady's question. But let's go back to the dollar store, because what is Money Masters PBS all about? It's all about financial education and financial fitness, to try and reduce the gap between poverty and financial sustainability. And I'm here today because basically my mission is to promote the mission of Money Masters PBS. And that's why I have linked my dollar store up. It's an online dollar store. It's our family's dollar store. That's why I've linked our store up with Money Masters PBS. And I'm going to say that as Kimberly points out, there are 5 aspects of financial fitness. Okay, saving money. When you save money, that you can spend it properly, but you have money left over to do additional savings, and you have money left over to pay your taxes. And when you're finished doing all that, you can pay forward. But I'm going to say this: by doing the first thing on the online dollar store, you're saving money and you're promoting giving to a good cause. And you do it all with one thing, by becoming a customer of the dollar store and shopping on the dollar store. So you still have the opportunity to use the money that you're saving, even though you've paid forward with Money Masters PBS, to do the other things anyway. Whoops, the other 4 out of the 5 things. So here we are. So we're here to support Money Masters PBS. We love the mission. Our family loves the mission. I love the mission. I love getting on IBM TV. I enjoy participating. You're going to find me staying in the middle. Don't try and put me on one side or the other, because I prefer not to be. The only issue I have is that I do have to cooperate with the people who live in the Socialist Republic of Northern California. But you have to remember,
That's why we have CBD.
I didn't start that. Nick was the one that started it. I just like to pick up on it because Jim is my foil all the time. And Zack knows. You can tell with Zack. And by the way, Zack, did you say you're having an operation?
Yes, I've been keeping it quiet because people got enough to worry about, but I'll be going in Wednesday morning.
Oh, well, when you come out, and I'm sorry, and God bless you, and I hope that
I'll be fine. I'm built for it. I'll be fine.
When you come out, you want to go on the dollar store, buy the CBD patches, put them on your shoulder. We already know that they have uses for this is for musicians, because I know musicians. You can, especially if you play a guitar or you play the clarinet or you play the drums, okay, you can get tendonitis, and you need to put it on. That's probably why you have to have the shoulder operation.
It is.
But remember this. If you play chess, okay, this is important to know, because Jim gets tendonitis just from moving the chess pieces around the board. Okay, so I get tendonitis cutting the grass sometimes, because we live. Yeah, but no.
It's an excuse.
No. It's true, because we live on a hill, and even with the for 30 years, 35 years of my life, I had somebody else cutting the grass. It's one of the things that I hate the most. But then I moved to a side hill, okay, with not a whole lot of grass, but it's a side hill. And I said, I'll pay more money than it's worth it, and it'll give me exercise because I seem to be getting a little punch, and so I start, pushing the lawnmower, and I have a lawnmower that's powered, but even with a powered lawnmower, I still get some tendonitis, and then of course
those hills are dangerous too. I never liked.
know. And then I have to use the weed whacker. Well, that hurts. I mean, that's bad on my back. And so I need to use it twice, once on my shoulders and once on my back, because the weed whacker, you have to bend over, to use the weed whacker. So maybe I shouldn't be so cheap, and maybe I should hire some other people. But I do remind you that if you are a chess player, just remember this, that as good as Jim is, and Jim is a fantastic chess player. I think you're a chess master, Jim, if I'm not mistaken. But when it comes to playing with Sasha, there's true pain. And he has to use it on his head. And as Kimberly says, put it on in advance. Oh, look.
My neck too.
Kimberly
I'm trying something new. I've never tried this before. So this is something new. I'm doing the pour with this, and it was very inexpensive. This can cost up to $10 to. This is the pour. Remember, they can cost up to $10 to $15. So I'm going to try it. I've never tried before. It's cucumber, but $2.
Is it $2 on a store?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's got two kits. Most of the time, you only get one.
Okay.
You think I need that, Kimberly?
Oh, definitely.
Use the collagen, Jim. Use the pink mask. I've actually already started using it, so I'm not going to bring it out. But the pink one is the collagen mask, and it's better for new, to renew skin.
So I'm going to have a vote here. Wait a minute, Aunt Kit. I want to have a vote. There's 6 of us, but Jim can't vote. How many people think Jim ought to use the mask?
That's what actually,
I already do use the mask.
You know what? Here's what I want to. Here's the thing we've got 3 men with beautiful white beards, and I want to see some color in those beards. But you know what I really like about the dollar store?
Oh,
I have to keep one hidden in my office so nobody takes my. Because I bought 3 of these and they keep disappearing. But they got the back, the cutesies. But why not? Yeah, we're on the Minion Club. But here's the thing: it makes you smile, right? But what it makes me smile is when I can buy things and not spend a fortune. It's like there you guys, we're all Minion fans. Oh my God! So. Easy.
No fair cheating with the technology.
Right. I just typed that. Yes. Cheating.
I need a Minion cup, guys. I'm going to get the slap bracelet next time I do an order. But, the thing is we got to laugh sometimes. And just the smallest things can make you laugh. But also, I'm spending a little bit of money for some things. Not a lot of money, but good. These are good napkins, by the way. My family steals them because they're good quality. They're not the cheap quality. And that's what I like about the dollar store. The online dollar store has a lot of, and I don't have that, but a lot of name brand products, very cost effective, but you can test something out for just a couple of dollars. You didn't have
quality
to
products, inexpensive.
Right. And why not? If you've got kids that going off to college, send them a shopping spree, right? And let them order their stuff and have it delivered to the dorm. Of course, the kids are going to steal it from them. Not like mean steal, but like, oh, you got this. Can I have it? I'm not talking about the mean kind of stuff, but kids are going to be, mooching in, but it's only a couple of dollars versus, and then the Cookie Monster, right? The Cookie Monster can bow. Hey.
I have a question to all the panelists and to all our viewers and also to all the IBM family. If we have a mascot for IBM TV, what would that be?
Oh, good question.
Good question. So, let's see, a mascot for the IBM family. I've always been a fan of things from the cat family, so I say we go with something like maybe a tiger or something like that. So I'm a fan of cats, so maybe something in the tiger family. Yeah, the lion could work. I like the lion. The lion mascot, that would work.
I like this one best.
Oh, I
Beautiful
have so much
eyes.
pain. So
What
much
about
pain.
I'm
Pain.
sorry, I didn't mean that.
Yeah, well, you did mean it. I know
Yeah, I
you
did.
meant it.
I did.
If Nick were here, he would make you disappear when you do
I
that.
know.
So, oh, fantastic. Keep doing it.
Nick is here right now. Nick is here watching us.
Oh, Nick is here watching.
Nick watches us a lot. He loves all the content. But everybody tells me that this talk show we do is a lot of fun. And it's just because I think we bring up issues but that are light, but we become
And I
happy
think,
but lighthearted.
And Kim, we should send some spiritual power to our new family member, Dr. Anthony Taibana. She's not well, so we have to spread some
I
love.
was going to ask where she was, and we got off on something else.
I was actually going to mention something about that. And Zach, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I do want to make folks aware that, you know, it's a rare time. We're in the middle of the hurricane season, and she is on the Gulf Coast, and there are 2 hurricanes that are actually heading in her direction. So I know one is already up to hurricane level. I'm not sure whether the other tropical storm has gone to that level yet, but I do know that they are saying that it could be hitting around Louisiana and around Texas. So definitely our prayers and thoughts are with Dr. Anthony, because there are 2 hurricanes heading in her direction. So definitely
they're threatening to converge
with folks. And that is one of the things that I know is going on. I know she may be having some health issues as well, but I know that the family is probably also preparing and trying to batten the hatches, as they say, in order to prepare for these storms that are coming their way.
We always get toilet paper, right?
Throw paper towels at them.
Yeah, last night I saw that on the Weather Channel that one of the storms has changed direction. They were going sort of parallel, and now they're going to veer together and hit New Orleans on consecutive. Well, within 48 hours. The first one, I think, isn't it Marco is the first one that's going to get there, and then Laura is the second one that's going to get there on Wednesday. So tomorrow and Wednesday. So, you know, we feel, you know, we pray for all the people in New Orleans, and just hope that this is not a repeat of what happened in 2005.
I was just going to tell Lynn, thank you, because I always shout you out at the end of the show now of what I'm doing for all your hard work and kind of like in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, because offering what you offer to help keep IBM afloat is a major humanitarian act. And, you know, we joke around and sometimes we get serious about this and that or whatever. But from my heart, I always want to say thank you. I try my best never to forget that, because a lot of the funk fans are just now getting up with the IBM store and the IBM channel, as well as your dollar store. So, you know, and thanks to, you know, some of the guests, Donna Sneed and everybody that's been on, they're actually spreading that, even though you may not see it a lot. People are talking about it in the funk circles that I run with. And that's a testament to how you feel about what we're doing. And I just wanted to make sure that people know that, you know, we're not here to, you know, not let anybody not shine. So shine. But I always wanted to ask you, what is that I'm always looking at behind you? Because it always looks like you're in a church steeple.
So beautiful, isn't it?
Interesting. Some people thought this was developed by a man whose daughter was a musician. I don't know whether she was a pianist or whether she sang or whatever it is. And this was developed, they call it in the community the studio. Most everybody knows it. There was a concert pianist who actually lived here that my brother knew back in the 60s and 70s. And he lived in where we are. I'm in a balcony area that looks down over a great room that for us is our living room, dining room, and kitchen. So what you're seeing is actually down into the great room. And then we're like a shore house where they're upside down. Our bedrooms are on the ground floor, below the great room. So that's what you see, Zach. Thanks for noticing it. It's really a fun place to live in. It's a lot different than where we lived before, because we had Well, we were in a 6,000-foot house on 3 acres. Now it's much smaller, but we really like it because it's much easier living for us when you get to be my age, which I think is around 55, if I'm not mistaken. So you know, you want a little bit easier living, but you know, I don't slow down. I will tell you this, that I'm inviting all of you to join me when I turn 100, because I will be playing in the Masters tennis tournament when I'm 100. Oh yeah. So Jim, don't act surprised. Now,
actually, you and Nick can play a tournament together because
well,
he
we
wants to
should.
play tennis.
We should,
Yeah.
But here's the thing. My wife often says there won't be anybody playing when except for me, and so I have a friend. I have a friend who comes also from the Socialist Republic, who lives in Santa Cruz. He grew up and went to school with me, and so my friend Harb will say to my wife, "Well, Judy, if he's the only one, he has to win." And her response is, "No, he'll even lose then." So I will tell you, it's going to be fun. You're all younger than I am, and we'll have fun. We'll still be supporting Money Masters PBS and the mission. And maybe what we'll do is we'll have a tournament where we raise money, and we raise money for Money Masters PBS. So
you're talking a long time from now, 100 years. You're not that old, so
yeah. Well, thank you very much.
I won't
do.
be around to see it.
You know, you've
Now, on
heard.
a serious note here, those kind of things with folks being agent and definitely still being involved in sports are wonderful things. I know that here in North Carolina, we have, in the past, there was a major newspaper that would do a tournament, and it was a golf tournament. The tournament was actually age ranked, so they would be different people of different ages competing. My uncle, who still, as far as I know, and he's had several kinds of surgeries in terms of like being a stroke survivor and things of that nature, still plays the game on occasion, but he was part of those tournaments well into, I want to say, his 60s or his 70s, and was definitely involved in those games. So definitely, I think that it's something that even as we get older, we can still continue to do. I know I need to get out and exercise more often. I'm oftentimes here and not doing enough exercise, so I need to get out. Unlike my good friend Zack, who actually went out and did some exercise yesterday and got his exercise on. So I need to be following his suit and actually getting some exercise, because he was bumped up, and of course he's got that thing that he's got to deal with on Wednesday. So that might have been part of the reason for the exercise. But I do think he's trying to get back on a regular regiment and things of that nature. So that being said, it's something that we've got to get back on. And I know I'm guilty. I need to get my walk on at the very least, and definitely get some more jogging and other things going. So I know that, you know, athletics and sports are very important, and we don't need to stop them as we get older. You know, we all want to look nice and trim and lean like our good friend Ankit. We all want to get like him and be able to keep that image like Ankit's got, along with the smile and everything.
That's not the National Geographic.
No,
I want to share with you a magic book, and it's my fallback on when I fall out. But this guy wrote this book for his dad, because his dad was older, had a heart attack. I think how that story goes. But he wanted his dad to get back in shape. It's 8 minutes a day. It's a guilt shame book, right? But it's so easy, right, to do the stretches. And he shows how you can get back in shape. And it works. It works every time. I don't know why I fall out, but, eventually I get bored. And
You're human. Yeah.
So let me.
8 minutes.
I just wanted to holler, Kim, real fast. I've been utilizing that thing that we learned that you had mentioned about not eating after dark, and Aunt Kim had mentioned that. That is some deep stuff, because my body does feel different.
Yeah, talk to Ankit.
2 months I've been doing it.
Talk to Ankit, because Ankit eats at midnight or after midnight. But anyway,
he's so young and handsome.
He can't help himself. He doesn't sleep.
So can I talk about? I'm going to tell you a story, and stories are great. I think a lot of it is in our head. I think when you get to be a certain age, people say to themselves they're old, and they act old. And I don't think we have to. But this goes back to the late 70s. I remember turning on the New York Marathon, and they were interviewing a gentleman who was running for the 19th time. Whoops, there it goes. He was running for the 19th time in the marathon, okay? And when he was in his mid-50s, he was bedridden in the living room of his home. His son was thinking, here's a man in his mid-50s thinking about putting him in a nursing home. And his son kept saying that he didn't belong in a nursing home. He's only in his mid-50s. So his son forced him out of bed, forced him to walk around the living room, which is where the bed was. Then forced him to walk outside and down the stairs and back up the stairs. Then he forced him to walk to the end of the block and back and up the stairs and down. Then he forced him to walk 2 blocks to the high school where they had a track, then home. Then he forced him to walk around the track and back home. And then he forced him to jog around the track. And then he forced him to run around the track, okay? And after doing that, this man basically got into long distance running. Here was a man that was going to be in his mid-50s, put into a nursing home, okay? And he kept running, and in his late 70s, he was running for the 19th time in the New York Marathon. So what does that say to you? That says to you that for a lot of people, it's in the mind. It is in the mind. And I think if people will change their mind, and maybe I've said this before here, but maybe some people haven't heard. I was in Chicago getting on a flight to Louisville. And there was a gentleman in a white suit, string tie, and a goatee. Looked a little like Zack, and with his goatee. And he got on and sat next to me on the flight. And I respect privacy, so I just handed him my newspapers when he was finished with his. And when they were serving breakfast, we opened up and we talked. And we talked for about half an hour to 45 minutes together. He was wonderful. It was Colonel Sanders, as you could guess. He was 85 years old. He was starting a new business. He said, you know, son, I have 15 more years of good business left in me, and I'm going to have fun doing it. He got sued by Hugh Blind because he used Colonel and Sanders in the name, and he won. It was all over the Wall Street Journal at the time, so I knew about it before I met him. But he offered me his limousine because I was there to look at some real estate, and I was meeting somebody. I didn't have one of these guys at the time to be able to call my friend who was at, I think, Hertz or Avis or one of those to rent a car. Okay, so I said, Colonel, I can't do it. I'm meeting my friend. He's renting the car. So I got off of the airplane. He was walking backwards in the concourse, and I couldn't keep up with him. 85 years old, and I was 31 years old. I mean, it was unbelievable. So I'm saying to you that you have to say to yourself, when you get to be 80 or 85, and I hope that every one of us does, I'm a lot closer than you all are, but that's beside the point. The point is, it's in here. That's why I play tennis. That's why I go out and work outside, because it keeps us going. And I think, you know, at age 100, we'll still be gardening. We'll still be married, both of us. I mean, to each other, I hope. And, you know, after 54 years, I hope she doesn't divorce me and say I found somebody who's going to live longer and better than you are. But that's beside the point. I know she won't. You know, and
I don't think she will. She's so beautiful.
I'm a betting man now.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's enough. I've talked about aging. I've talked about me and stories too much. I mean, as Kimberly knows, we've talked. I have so many stories in my life that are lots of fun.
Well, thank you for your wisdom. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for that wisdom.
What Zack was telling you, Lynn, And I have to be a little the serious one around here because you guys are always having fun. And I want to tell people, wear a mask. It's easy. And it's inexpensive if you go on the dollar store. Because you can get them in bulk for pennies.
Pennies. Yep. It's 50 masks for $25. And if you use your $5 of free gift tokens you get for signing up to become a customer, it costs you $20. It's shipped for free. And Jim's got to pull out his calculator on his phone because he never remembers how much it's going to be. And by the way, we were going to do two other things, and that is this. Okay. Wait a minute. That's when you get $10 worth of.
Okay.
I
jumped ahead of you, Lynn. Sorry.
We need Dr. Saigu on here because he's got to keep you straight, Jim. If you remember, he goes 5 and 5 because between now and the end of August, we're going to give everybody an extra $5 worth of gift tokens. You automatically get 5, and between now and the end of September, we're going to be giving 100% of our profit to Money Masters PBS. And between now and at the end of September, I'm going to ask Jim to keep his mask on while he's on the show because we don't want computer viruses. And we're very concerned that Jim might be passing computer viruses along. So, Jim, keep your mask. You know, it's one of those things that starts in the Socialist Republic of Northern California, and we don't want to pass that on. So, anyway.
You got to be real careful about that because that might be why he's getting that thunder. I saw that Jim was calling up to the heavens, so maybe that's why Lynn is getting those thunderstorms and everything along.
It makes it sound like the voice of God coming out
on him and everything, trying to get some divine help. You talked about the aging, and I must add that while I am being lazy, and I will admit to my laziness, and I want to get off of that, my dad is an amazing person in terms of his exercise because he just turned 80 back in June 20th, and he is still doing bicycling and other things that are very much about exercising. So he is still out there on the trails getting those bicycles and getting that bicycling on. I'm actually of the opinion that my nephews who are about to turn 11 and 12, he has more energy than they do. And we know that kids of that age have a lot of energy, but I think that he can go toe-to-toe with them in terms of energy. I also want to give a shout out to a friend of mine and a friend of IBM.TV. One of the things, Kim, that you may not be knowing is that a number of folks in the digital media and in the media world are paying attention to us. That's actually kind of how I found Miss Kim. She's a part of a group called Digimenters, which is out of New York. But there is a digital media person out of Pennsylvania by the name of Tim Sohn, and he has been watching us as well. So Tim Sohn has definitely been giving some comments and everything. So he wanted to say hello to everybody because he was watching our conversation. So IBM.TV is getting some recognition, not just among the world population, but also among those folks that are engaged in this kind of media, whether it's digital media, whether it's the television industry, whether it's the radio industry, podcasting, or a number of other sources. So just wanted to let you know that folks are paying attention to what we're doing and definitely enjoying it and continuing to want to help us grow.
Well, and J.H. Kim has been quite a fan and has been texting in, and I'd like to get J.H. Kim to even join us one day. Hi, J.H. Kim and Tim, thank you so much for watching us. You're awesome. We think the world's awesome, and that's what we want. We want the world to share with us what's going on for them and bring in some good spirits, good vibes, music, if you've got music, art. And Ankit and I, we started talking today. We've got the ball rolling for our music marathon. And we'll be, Zack's going to be one of the main people that are going to be helping us bring in the music marathon. But we're going to kind of, even though it's not going to be like 100% collaborated, we're going to be kind of working in conjunction with World Peace Day because it's the same week. So this, I think, is going to be a great collaboration for bringing in stuff. But what we're going to be doing is raising money for artists and artists who come and play music on our show. We're going to be doing a thing called a tip jar. And so as people donate money, we will we will split the money among the artists that come and play for us. We're not going to like tip if you get this many. We're going to do a jar split. And so we've been talking about this. We're going to make a QR code so people can just scan the code on the screen and go tip. But those are some of the things that we're going to be trying to do to inspire good music, a lot of fun. We're going to try to incorporate some games. But you know what? I'm going to tell you guys, I did an interview with Artie. You don't know who Artie is, but she's going to be our teen show. And Kenan and Artie, he's the director basically, and they're producing their own shows. And I did one of her first interviews, and that girl is smart. I'm gonna tell you what, a little 14-year-old girl, she has got it together. But I played a game with her, and I'm not gonna ruin it with you, but it's fun. And when you guys get a chance to interview with her, you're gonna see what I mean. But I ain't gonna give you a chance to cheat. So, but it's a lot of fun. But
speaking of cheating, and I know we got to wrap up and everything, but since I gave Tim a shout out, I want to say that him and Brian Shulman do this thing. So I'm going to actually put us on the spot. I'm going to see if we can't do it here now since Tim is watching this and everything. But they do like a thing, and I think Brian's program is called Voice Your Vibes. I'm trying to get him to come to us and everything, but they do something that they call social distancing. So basically, you have to like dance in your chair, and I've been guilty of actually, because they've had me as one of their guests. So I've actually been on their show, and I've actually done some social distancing. So if anybody's got like their dance moves, I don't have any music on at the moment, but if anybody's got their dance moves, I'm sure Tim would like to see the IBM TV version of social distancing. So if you got any dance moves while you're sitting down in your chair, go for it right now, because that's what we need.
Where's the music? What music?
I see Jim doing some just dancing. I'm trying to do a little bit. Kim got hers going on. Oh yeah, here we go. There's Zack. Aiken, I'm not seeing you. I need to see you, Aiken. We need to see some social distancing.
We have to have a music. Without how can we dance?
No music.
It's all up here.
It's all up here. Before we wrap though, Mark, I got to tell you, I want some credit for this is the lightest blue shirt I have.
Wow.
Carolina girl.
I'm trying to tone it down a little.
Are we going to get the chairman of the board on?
Chairman of
the board
to appear on the show. I had them as my guest. They did say that they will be appearing, so I've just got to figure out with Ankit whether it'll be a clip of them or doing a live performance. But they will be making a performance one way or the other. By the way,
Mark,
Kim,
you are the man.
By the way, Tim said go Kimberly, so he was liking your social distancing.
I'm working with Mark to have them on the Sunday show.
I'll spin her around.
That was good.
Sounds good. Thank you.
No problem. I think that will very much wrap up this, but I did have to have a little bit of fun. Speaking of fun, I have decided to add a new component to the whole thing that goes on with the online dinner party. I know that Ankit has that the dinner party needs to have like some actual dinner party kind of ideas and things of that nature. So we will continue having the dialogue that we often have as guests talking about different issues. But one of the things I'm going to add is I might throw on this Wednesday some trivia and some like kind of fun games as we have the guests on and everything. And one of the things that I'm going to try to add is adding a mystery guest. The mystery guest may be an avatar, so it may not be the actual person, because some of these are famous folks or historical folks that I want to add to the show. So like I said, I may decide that the mystery guest is Abe Lincoln, for example, or Martin Luther King, which means I just have to throw up a picture of them, but I will talk about them in the course of the interview and ask questions about a little bit about their history and things of that nature. So it'll also be an educational kind of thing, kind of what we have going on with Lynn. So we'll have an educational component as well. So that's one of the things that I'm adding to the dinner party is a mystery guest. So like I said, I'm going to try to on occasion get real mystery guests, real folks that I pull in that nobody knows who they are, but they might also be some guests that are like an avatar version or something like that. So
I can do voiceovers.
Online dinner party, there will be a mystery guest.
Mark, is it a cash prize?
I can do voiceovers.
Yes, is it a cash prize, Mark? That's the only way I'm going to play. That's the only way. Cash prize. Cash.
We'll see what we can do.
Cash prize, I'm in.
We got to build it up. We got to build it up as part of the IBM.
Me and my brain will be there, okay? Me and my brain will be there if it's money.
We got something. We
IBM.
all wear masks. It could be a mystery guest, right?
Tim told me that I can use.
It's hard to eat with your mask on.
Yes, so I've got to talk to Tim to see how that works because I don't want to not have it work. But we will definitely have some mystery guests that will come up, and like I said, there will be some trivia questions. There'll be like so those of you that think you know how to spell, I might throw like some online adult spelling bee stuff as well. So it might be something simple like how to spell lion.
I know how to spell.
It might be something really hard like rhinoceros, right? Rhinoceros.
I know how to spell, Mark.
But you know what I'm trying to say, or hippopotamus, but it might be something like that. So we'll find out how it goes, and we will definitely. Those things will be added as part of this Wednesday's online dinner party. I am still lining up my guests for that, but in addition to the guests for the online dinner party, we're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna have like an actual dinner party kind of thing going on.
You're great, Mark. I love it. Great idea.
Great idea. And you know what? If you had it at my house, it'd be a ghost because I have ghosts in my house.
Oh,
Cool.
Very cool.
never mind. I'll talk to you offline, Kim. I can take care of that.
Very cool.
I'm okay with them. I like them.
Oh,
They're-
okay. All
Yeah,
right.
they're a lot of fun. They do like to turn the TVs on and off occasionally, but this is what it is.
Yeah, that's interesting. That explains a lot around my house.
Yep.
And one of Zach's friends was just
I
saying
agree
that those guys are way too much, and I agree. We are way too much, but that is a good thing to have those kind of
Me
fun.
toned down.
Mark,
Money.
money, Mark. Money.
Where's the Benjamins, Ankit? Where are the Benjamins?
There you go. There you go. There's Benjamin for you.
There you go. Look at that. Woo.
So before we bring up the ambassador, and of course
It's
that
supposed to be the Federal Express, or
We've got
not
other things
the
going on
American
in terms of
Express.
programming here and everything. So before we get to that,
Oh,
we just have fun, and we're gonna maybe just calm it down a little bit. I know one of the things that I do at the end of my show and everything, but I'm just going to do it at the end of this one, is everybody that's here on the panel, let's give the folks that are listening a word of encouragement for today. We've talked about all kinds of things going on, so let's just give them a word of encouragement for today. And I'll start with you, Ankit. What's your word of encouragement? Then I'll come to Zach, come around to Kim, and
My
then
word of
I'll
encouragement.
close it out and we'll bring up the ambassador.
I just wanted to say things of that nature is perfectly fine.
Okay.
I was just going to say, whatever it is, reach for it. You can get it.
Smile and share it.
wear a
Sounds
mask
good.
and vote.
Oh yeah, definitely wear a mask, get out there and vote, and whatever you're doing, justly try to keep it in a very positive light because there's so much negativity going around the world. So let's just try to continue what we're doing, which is being very positive. We're doing that regularly on IBM.TV, and we want to continue doing that because we are all about unity and also sharing the diversity.
But Mark, you
Yes,
know,
sir.
people are enjoying our conversation and they don't want us to wrap the show.
They
Oh,
know,
they
I know
don't?
everybody's like talking and saying,
Yeah.
oh, we'll have to figure out a way to keep some of this going. Maybe have a party one day and we are all partying and, you know, talk about the different foods we're eating, you know, like have some food and everything. I hate leaving you guys too. This is my family. And I have another family too.
Same.
But at the end of the day,
Don't make me cry, Kimberly. Where's my minion napkin?
well, you know, I was thinking like, you know, before all of this happened, I was traveling 85% of the year. And I was asked during the interview, you know, where's your favorite place to go? And my favorite place was Miami because I have another family down there. And so it was always nice to see. And it's not the family like blood family. It's my adoptive family. And so I kind of miss that. But this is kind of fill that gap. And that's what, you know, people fill that gap and fill it with good stuff, right? Fill the basket with good foods and to get away from the Facebook banter right now. Just, it's not healthy. It really isn't.
Thank you, Kim.
Sorry, I'm being mom. Oh, one more thing about being mom. I have two schools right next to me, right? One across the street, one next door. Schools have opened, and I did notice that the kids are getting way too close together. So during their playtime, So there is some concern. I think what Zach was saying there, and Kit, that they don't know. They
Kids
don't
will
know.
be kids.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kids, and one of the things that I've wondered, and I brought this up to a friend of mine's discussion that they were having online, is that I sometimes think that we need to have some sort of, I know the kids, particularly college kids, go through orientation, but this is a new normal that we're in. I know folks get tired of that phrase, new normal, but it is a new normal. So I actually feel that even on the university level and definitely on the high school level, we need to have like some true orientation, because you as a parent, and those of you that are parents, can tell your kids all day long, don't do this, don't do that, but it needs to be reinforced. And I don't know that I've seen enough of the universities actually doing that, actually having discussions about what is being allowed in things of that nature. So that's kind of what I meant when I said that we definitely need to have those conversations on a regular basis, because I'm afraid that, I can tell you, well, like I said, I'm not a parent, but I am an uncle, but I can tell my nephews all day long not to do this or that. Zach can tell his kids all day not to do this or that. The same with Ankit, who's got the younger kids and everything. But it needs to be reinforced by the other folks that are the caregivers that are involved. And from what I'm seeing, I'm not seeing enough of that going on. So that's me being a little bit on the more serious side, but definitely I do think that we need to have more of those kind of conversations going on, because even Tim was making a comment that he's very worried about schools opening back up. He has a 9 and a 5-year-old, and his wife is a teacher in a high school. And where they said there will be no social distancing in many cases, they'll pull the kiddos out if cases keep popping up. So they are definitely following attention to what's going on.
I want to comment on that, because I do a lot of risk management, right? Most of my life has been based on risk management. I don't believe in reaction. I believe in proaction. And if you wait until there are cases popping up, it might be too late, Tim. I look at what you're saying, and you're trying to be accepting to what's going on, but make your own policies so that you're not reacting, that you've been proactive. My concern is when the cases pop up, it's going to be too late. One of the conversations we've had this morning is trying to get some educational programs on the network, get real teachers that come on, make some educational fun shows that address STEAM, right? All the things that you should be getting in school. I'm going to add something to STEAM. I just don't know how to put it in that acronym word, because I want to do financial literacy too, like a little financial literacy game. So it's STEAM F. So I don't know, Ankit, maybe you can help me play with that.
Ankit's the guy for that. Yeah.
But
any acronym, leave it to him.
But I am very concerned, not just for the children. The children should come first, but I am very, very concerned about the parents, because a lot of us are not immune enough to be able to handle the disease. And we have seen when these spike, a lot of people die. And the reason why is because the hospitals don't have the staff to maintain spikes. They just don't.
Workers are exhausted.
Right. But build your immunity, folks, just like Dr. Sagu said. Don't wait to take that vitamin after you're sick. Put it in your system now. Okay. Be proactive. Don't wait until the pain comes in. If you know that when you work out, you get pain, take a little bit of an aspirin or something first. Mark, I know you need to wrap up the show. As much as we are loving this and our fans are great. I guess we need to wrap. Do you have an outro?
Yes, I do have the outro. We'll start with the ambassador. The ambassador was told to give us those lovely hints that we're also told to give on a regular basis, and then we'll have the outro of you and Nick and others having that conversation and things of that nature. But right now, let's bring up the outro from the ambassador. I do want to say that Tim was thank you for sharing that, Kimberly. The numbers where he is are currently not that bad, but he's definitely taking your advice to heart and things of that nature.
It's a tough
definitely wanted to share that.
It's a tough decision, Tim.
Yeah.
I'll be praying for you.
And here's the ambassador.
कोरोना वायरस से कैसे बचेंगे? हैंड होकर और ऐसे अपने खांसी जब आएगी तो ऐसे करेंगे अच्छू अच्छू.
All right, the ambassador doing another great job. And now let's talk about what's going on for the rest of the day. Of course, we still have some other great programming. I know Alexandria will be here later on this afternoon in less than an hour. And then we've also got Talking Upstream. Talking Upstream will be having us all kinds of great ideas about creating a show and things of that nature. Dylan and the other Zack, that's right, we've got two Zacks here on IBM.TV. And who knows, we might recruit
That
3 or
is
4
never
more Zacks,
enough.
because we got way too many Zacks going on here in the world. We need some more Kims. We need some more Marks. We might even need some more Jims. That's definitely, we need some more Ankins. We need a couple of more Ankins
Oh, yeah.
and things
We
of
need
that
to
nature.
clone
So
Ankins.
we're going to have to recruit some more folks. And right now, the Zacks, I think, are winning the category because they've just got 2 Zacks, and who knows, we might have to recruit a 3rd or a 4th Zack. Matter of fact, we had a Zack guest because we had Zack Hawkins on. So we've had 3 Zacks on. But right now, let's get that plane on, and don't forget to stay tuned right here because there's some more great programming that will be continuing right here on IBM.TV. I'm looking forward to my 2 shows on Monday, but right now, let's get ready to see the plane and get on out of here.
Okay.